All right, I'm gonna dive right into this. So this is gonna be content for the YouTube main channel and/or. So I'll go through some of the stuff that made some of my most recent shorts of the week like popular. I talked a lot about George Lucas stuff, Bridgerton stuff, Sony stuff, maybe even some X-Men stuff. So first half, George Lucas. There's always he was talking about discriminatory, feminism, racism, and stuff like that in Star Wars. And Star Wars, even though the cast is white, the characters are aliens, stuff like that. Robots are like an example of like accepting other people. In terms of like the feminists, like uh, using Princess Leia, general of the rebellion, basically the leader of the rebellion. It takes, women don't, you don't have to like box women in for to be these like leader types. Like all it takes is a very well capable woman, a very intelligent woman, logically thinking or minded woman. He was really ahead of his time, honestly. But amazingly, his movies are clashing with modern Star Wars fans, or just sentiment, to where current generations, most recent generations, are more personalized in their beliefs. So they're very much more critical of what they believe is racism or discrimination and feminism and stuff like that. It's a very personalized perspective that I don't think is very objective. It's very subjective, but it's clashing with George Lucas. But this is George Lucas recalls the moment he realized Star Wars was a hit, and it involves an unexpected Steven Spielberg memory. To say that the Star Wars movies were massively successful would be an understatement. With so many upcoming Star Wars movies and TV shows lined up, it's a relief that A New Hope did so well in 1977, considering many people were predicting it would be a flop. Franchise creator George Lucas looked back at the time when he first noticed his space opera became a hit. It involves the memory of his fellow filmmaker pal Steven Spielberg. While speaking at the Cannes Film Festival, where we got all this good stuff, to receive his honorary Palme d'Or, George Lucas explained that studios had no faith that Star Wars would work as a movie since they weren't fans of Lucas's previous films he directed, like THX 1138 and American Graffiti. That was a good movie. This caused the studio to release the movie in only 32 theaters. However, he told the head of the 20th Century Fox to have faith in the sci-fi genre Star Wars: A New Hope fit under. As the filmmaker recalled, when it came out, there were people around the block. It was like crazy. And I said to Laddie, Alan Ladd Jr., who's the head of 20th Century Fox, I said, look all science fiction films do great in the first week. That's just the way it is. And I said, let's not worry about lines around the block in the first week because they just like science fiction films. George Lucas was right. He and his wife were having dinner at a local hamburger place when they realized the streets were filled with traffic, with people waiting in long lines on the sidewalks for Star Wars. He forgot that the first of many future movies was released at the movie theater near the burger joint and saw how quickly word of mouth reached audiences young and old. It proves Lucas was a movie genius in making a cinematic story that could reach kids and teenagers, whereas studios told him that a younger demographic wouldn't have any interest. Steven Spielberg, known for contributing to the best sci-fi movies of all time, is good friends with George Lucas. In fact, he was with him when he discovered just how much of a hit Star Wars was. Lucas continued, and then I went off to Hawaii to be on the beach, and Steven Spielberg and I sat around and made sandcastles and things. Could you believe? Then some of my friends from the United States called and said, turn on Walter Cronkite tonight. Turn on the news. Turn it on. And they did. A whole thing about a phenomenon it was. That's when I finally realized it was a big phenomenon. Say that word twice. Who would have thought the memory you saw the Star Wars phenomenon on the news would be when you were making sandcastles with Steven Spielberg? It's nice the two filmmakers who would shake the world of cinema were together when the Star Wars phenomenon was coming into play. Surely you can find other words, right? Just when so many thought A New Hope would flop, it actually became the second highest grossing film in North America and the fourth highest grossing film of all time. It even managed to surpass Steven Spielberg's Jaws. Did his Jaws drop? However, George Lucas was actually hoping Star Wars would outperform Close Encounters of the Third Kind due to a dumb bet made between him and Steven Spielberg. If Close Encounters made more at the box office, the Schindler's List director owed the Lucasfilm head 2.5% of the film's share. Oh my god. Lucas made the same deal if Star Wars outperformed Spielberg's movie, which unfortunately for Lucas caused him to lose millions to Spielberg. Interesting. The E.T. director clearly had faith in Star Wars to take on that bet and is said to still receive profit shares from the sci-fi film. That's funny. Alright, it continues. It took George Lucas to see lions wrapped around the block for Star Wars to realize what a massive hit his creation was. Steven Spielberg can even say he was there when the moment came in full circle, making sandcastles with his friend. It's a good thing that Lucas didn't back out of the franchise after Empire Strikes Back, or the franchise would nearly have become the pop culture sensation it is now. You can watch all of the Star Wars movies with your Disney Plus subscription. Isn't that nice and wonderful? But yeah, George Lucas, a man ahead of his time, him sharing a moment with Steven Spielberg. Let us not forget that Star Wars is an example of what we take from society and how objective we can be and subjective at the same time. And if we want to come together, we should promote movie franchises like Star Wars. At least, the original trilogy and even the prequel. Accept them for what they were, and not so much the personalized nature that the most recent films were. That's very diversifying in a bad way. So it's always good that we come together and stuff like that. So, all right. So Sony continues to declare a victory with the PS5. They're talking about profitability, most profitable, and stuff like that, and PlayStation 5 has made them a lot of money, despite the fact that the majority of PlayStation users still have a PlayStation 4. It is a very large portion of people. But nonetheless, PlayStation 5, and they're getting close to the PlayStation 5 Pro is coming up, so they're gearing up for that. But they have decided to kind of muscle it, as it would be. So they don't just want to have won, they want to declare their victory. So the PlayStation 5 generation is already Sony's most profitable yet. The company has announced, in terms of numbers, the PS5 generation has already earned Sony $106 billion, according to a slide from its Game and Network Services segment. Presentation from PlayStation's two new CEOs, Hideki Nishino and Herman Holst. Could have always gotten them wrong. However, on the same slide, Sony shows that the PlayStation 4 generation earned $107 billion, which is obviously more than $106 billion. But the reason Sony is calling the PlayStation 5 generation the most profitable one yet is because the PS4 generation is largely complete, whereas the PlayStation 5 presumably still has years to go. Given it's made $106 billion in roughly 4 years, it seems Sony is confident it will surpass $107 billion in the coming months or years. Though, you'd have to judge by the increase in inflation and stuff like that. And it's funny that they are calling it complete, even though the majority of people still have PlayStation 4s. So people are still hanging on to their PlayStation 4s. As for what Sony is including in its profits, it's the entire gamut of the PS5 generation. This includes the PlayStation 5 console itself, associated hardware and accessories, and software too. It also includes services like PlayStation Plus, according to the presentation. One of the reasons the PlayStation 5 generation might be Sony's most profitable yet is because even though the player base is as big as the PS4, which is not true, both are sitting at 49 million active consoles as of late month. So I'm just going for like daily users and stuff like that. PS5 players are playing significantly more on their console. The PS5 generation sits at 2.4 billion total gameplay hours, while the PS4 sits at 1.4 billion. More people are holding on to it, they're just not playing it as much apparently. More playtime likely equates to more spending, which might be one of the reasons the PS5 generation is doing financially as well as it is. Life-to-date spending on the PS5 is also higher amongst players than the PS4. It is the more recent console. Across preferable services, content/add-ons, and content/full games, the PS4 life-to-date spend is $580, while PS5 players average $731. We're getting the more recent. So my biggest take, it's good that Sony is succeeding. It is good. Again, PlayStation 5 will be coming out, but they still need to work on the fact that a majority of people do have PS4s. They are holding on to it. They may not be playing it as much as those that are using PS5s are, and maybe they're spending a little bit more, but it's not too much of a difference there. I hope Sony realizes that the majority of people are still on the 4 and that they're going to have to do something about that. So whatever it is, whatever's coming after PlayStation 5 Pro, that they shouldn't rest on their morals. So anyway, thank you all for watching this, and feel free to like and subscribe to the channel if you appreciate the content and/or so help it grow. Alright, so going a little bit into Bridgerton, because there are people that do enjoy the Bridgerton content, rightfully so. So Nicola Coughlan, I know she's made some risque comments about her nude scenes in upcoming, really, part 2, season 3. But anyway, she's gaining more and more notoriety. She wouldn't necessarily be aligned with my political leanings, but she's gaining ground, and when you're gaining ground, I mean, it means everything you stand for, what you're putting out there, obviously isn't invalid. It means there's a lot of people that agree with you. So, but this is Nicola Coughlan, is a little bit fat and a lot hot. Like her, I dream of the day when we're not talking about this Rebecca Shaw. Now that I don't really know, but the backlash to Bridgerton star's very normal-sized body is not just because she appears on screen, but because she dares to be desirable and sexual on screen. So anyone who didn't know that in season 3, her character Penelope had an extreme glow up, as it would be, I would say that they should probably take in time on that a little bit more, but hey, each to their own. I'm not going to say too much more because, I mean, she is an attractive woman. I mean, so there's nothing, I don't see anything wrong with her. So every so often a celebrity goes on a publicity tour that is so undeniably charming that it ends up all over the internet. Right now it is Nicola Coughlan, who is traveling around the world talking to people about her saucy starring role in the new season of Bridgerton. I won't read that, but I am the exact demographic to receive this content. Of course, she does mean, yeah, queer, fat, middle-aged, and the article says horny. Oh, either or. Each to their own. To receive this content, her turn as straight-edge lesbian Claire in Dairy Girls is an incredible component of one of my favorite comedies. Let's see. Tours like this can be risky given the direct access we get to famous people's opinions, but Coughlin has only endeared herself to me more. This writer, at least. From doing impressions of her favorite Australian married at first sight contestants to being one of the rare public figures to call for a ceasefire. Okay. She is funny and outspoken, Irish, yet despite all of this, the major stir she has made is down to her character Penelope Featherington's sex scenes in 1800s Bridgerton. What could be so crazy? Do cousins make love? Does someone's wooden tooth fall out at an inopportune moment? Does a fancy lady get her chimney swept to an exciting string version of Poison by Bardot? No, the issue is that Nicole has sex scenes at all because she's a little bit fat. Okay, that was worded in rhythm, wasn't it? Alright. There are going to be different opinions on both sides on this, so I don't want to argue about Nicola's body. I'm not interested in convincing anyone it is an attractive one. But for some reason, this is now up for debate. We're not used to seeing a non-thin woman promoted to love interest or being desired at all, let alone having hot sex. Unfortunately, anything that might expand the narrow societal dictates of desire makes some people lose their minds. It's as if they've taken Ozempic? Last week, one columnist described Nicola on Bridgerton as not hot, saying, "There's nothing wrong with fat. It's hardly a moral shortcoming, but a zest for equality and diversity, and in this case, good acting, just isn't enough to make a fat girl who wins the prince remotely plausible." The hatred of anyone outside the ideal of stick thin is so ingrained that people will try to convince themselves that this woman is unappealing, and will even say it publicity in a column or in comment sections. Well, no, that's just what majority of people are attracted to. But majority of people are attracted to different things. It pisses me off that I have to talk about this, and we know from Nicola being outspoken, Irish again, that the conversation about her body rightly pisses her off too. She has asked people to stop body shaming her, and said she insisted on doing naked scenes in Bridgerton as a direct fuck you to all the comments about her weight on the internet. We can debate whether that's toxic. I believe it should not be any particular celebrity's job to be the fat one, and to represent all fat people. It's not fair for the rare fat celebrities, I don't know why the word fat has to be mentioned so long. She's fine. Celebrities to be one under the microscope like this, carrying the weight, pun intended, very funny, for the whole community. Especially one that is hated so intensely. We have created this problem by only allowing a few fat people in the public eye at once. When I tweeted about being happy to see Nicola getting her hot fat body out in the show, someone reprimanded me. Just hot, no need to say fat. I know, that's in quotations. I know the intention here is good, and at some point in the past I might have agreed with it. Not in 2024. Fat should be a neutral descriptor. It is only an insult, because it has been weaponized against us for decades by hateful and lazy people. That is contrary. We can debate on that. Alright, so we live in a world where not only it is conspicuous that Nicola is doing this, it's important. She is hot, she is fat, and if there's ever been a time to note this, it's now. So this writer is the one that really keeps on saying it. Society has always hated fat people. So I never said that this writer didn't have an agenda or wasn't being very subjective. Again, the majority of people would look at Nicola and she's like, oh, she's fine. This character's fine. Industries have been built by making sure societies keep hating us. It makes fat people not try to be fat, and not fat people scared of being fat. It makes everyone hate themselves and pay trillions of dollars to either get thin or stay that way. We made a bit of progress over the years, taking little chihuahua-sized steps towards body acceptance. Again, it's from person to person. Everyone has their different preferences, and that's fine. But now we have Ozempic, a drug that is becoming commonplace, making fat people in the public eye obsolete. The pressure to become thin is greater than ever before. And by the way, I would just promote exercise. It's going to be a lot better for you. Every celebrity every celebrity you've seen struggle with their weight in the past has gone or disappeared. It's the one area of diversity people don't think about, including those who would know better. Nicola is not someone who should be considered brave for showing her body and being sexy. It shouldn't be news. She has a normal, average-sized body. She could buy clothes in any shop. But that's where we are at, as a society that is becoming more hostile towards fat people on the daily. Even having someone as mildly fat as her, standing up for her own body's desirability, appearing in roles where she gets to display her sexiness, makes a difference. The backlash to Nicola's body is not just because she appears on the screen, but because she dares to be desirable and sexual on screen. I dream of an existence where the only response to Nicola getting her having bosom out is to appropriate level of horniness. This writer, man. I know that by writing this article, I'm contributing to the debate. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And stirring the pot. But I also need to take a tip from Nicola and be outspoken about things that are important. I wish she didn't have to endure all these conversations about fatness, but I am very grateful that she's all over my screens. Again, it's all preference. Different people, different things. Fat is a perception. For some people, fat is attractive. For some people, it isn't. Stirring the pot isn't always going to be helpful in that. And this writer obviously has an agenda. And this writer puts forth that agenda. And there's areas of agreement. And there's areas where this might be crossing a boundary or two. It might be pitting peoples against each other. And that may not be a good thing. I don't always see it as a good thing when people are pitted against each other. So, but by reading articles that we may not agree with, that we may disagree with, or vice versa, it is healthy. It is healthy to understand that that way we can all eventually come together. Those of us that are in the center, those of us, it doesn't matter your ideology, but those of us that have a common sense in the center, we can kind of look at this bar of different radicals, and we can take what's right, what's wrong, and we can bring even these people together. So at least it's the hope. But that's that, a little bit of Bridgerton. I'm looking forward to season 3's part 2. Most importantly, Francesca and John's characters. Francesca, fellow INFJ. I'm looking forward to it. So with her golden pair, INTP. And I thought I would look over some more Bridgerton content, actually, because since Nicola Coughlan is in the news consistently these days, I figured, well, why not? Why not? And whether I like her or disagree with her, whether I have disagreements on her character, maybe something should have been prolonged. Hey, a lot of people are talking about her. So I figure, why not look into some more stuff about her? And we all know she had this huge glow up in season 3, part 1. I would say that it could have been slowed down a little bit. This could have been some season 4 stuff. That's just my opinion. But right here, I guess I'm a male, and I'm a masculine male, but I'm also feminine too. So I saw this on the headline, some other stuff. I was like, this is Is this what women are talking about? And maybe so. And as a male, I'm like, well, this is interesting. I always talk with women a lot. So, and I grew up in a family full of women. So, sister, mothers, everything, all that stuff. So, at work I have lots of female friends too. But that's probably no surprise. So, anyway, Bridgerton's Nicola Coughlan just dropped her skincare routine, and we're taking notes. Dude, this shit you not. This is a Yahoo. You know, maybe they don't do that anymore. This is from Charlotte Bitmead. I like the name Charlotte. And by the way, Charlotte, that's a whole nother conversation of goodness. So, but this author is like really going out there. So if this is like this is the psyche for women out there, a portion, that's interesting. As a male, women, as long as you got great personality, as long as you're not bad looking, there is a grade there, but just stick with your level or around that and focus on personality, because personality is what's going to keep the relationship, longevity. But I'm like, makeup is a deceiver, but that's not all men too at the same time. I'm like, I want to know a woman's true beauty, because that's the woman that I'm going to wake up with every morning. And age happens, so makeup is only going to prolong things for so long. But anyway, so let's go into... But Nicola, apparently women are going off about her skincare regimen. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, beauty is within. Alright, so anyway. And outside, I guess, but... Alright, so if, like me, you've already binge-watched Bridgerton Season 3, it's got to be done. You may also be thinking the same thoughts as me. No, I'm not talking about the sex scenes. I'm talking about Nicola Coughlan's skin. The glow cannot be down to just love alone. Sorry, Colin. There's some serious skincare wizardry at play here, especially considering Miss Penelope Featherton, or should I say the soon-to-be Mrs. Bridgerton. Almost lost my place there. I mean, look, really, is the 37-year-old in real life? I didn't know she was 37. I'm 36. Just turned 36 in May. My jaw is on the floor, she says. In regards to that, what'd she say about the sex scenes? I mean, it wasn't too much. I think there's going to be more in part 2. I think I did like a short about it also, but yeah, I guess she's going to show a lot more. And apparently that's a response to people calling her fat online. So if you're a male out there, just call every woman you know fat, and she will strip naked for you in a series called Bridgerton. It will happen, apparently. I'm like, it's not necessary. There's only some people that will fat shame. That's not a majority of people. It's not a healthy thing, and a majority of people are healthy. Don't fat shame, but at the same time, don't be dishonest. But at the same time of this, it's like, well, she decided to take off her clothes, and now it's turned into skin regimens. My goodness. Anyway, so it seems today was my lucky day, because Nicola just went on record and shared all the skincare products and tools she uses to get that glowy baby-like skin. It's safe to say we're adding everything to our basket, ASAP. And I know the glow up in the series. I guess apparently in real life, she's glowing up too. But I mean, with movies, there's movie magic. So you're never going to look like the person on the screen in a movie that's got really good makeup and really good direction, really good camera work. It's just not going to happen. But I guess is this without makeup? I mean, every woman has her own form of beauty without makeup. I'm like, that's fine. That's good. At least you know what you're waking up with. Yeah, nice. But if that's after makeup, I'm not going to say. Let's see. But this was a picture, like, she was thanking Vogue magazine for asking about beauty secrets and allowing her to tell her basically her story about one really long hair that grows out of her chin. Is this true? Is this true? Is this a true story? That is terrible. That's horrible. That is horrible. That is one of the worst things that could ever happen. That and death. So I guess she talks about that in the video. But let's see. In the Vogue video, Nicola starts off by removing a Compeed anti spots pimple patch. I mean, I have acne, so I deal with acne, and I have since I was a young one, and that's just washing my face. So I mean, and trying to eat healthier, not as much sugars, not as much chocolates, which have lots of sugars. That's been my way to kind of fight acne and stuff like that. But let's see. She was. Hold on. I skipped ahead. I didn't mean to. And then goes on, and then goes in with the new facial toning device. I didn't know there was a device to lift cheekbones. Is that really a thing? A girl after my own heart because I'm so addicted to this handy skincare tool. You can read why here. So I guess this is also being monetized by this writer, apparently. Now we're at the crux. We want to sell this to women all around. Speaking of the tool, Nicola adds, it does make a difference. That's the sell right there. I was watching back some Bridgerton episodes the other day, and I could tell I really went ham on it that day. Wow, such wording. My God, is it Thanksgiving already? The cheekbones, that would be turkey, I guess Christmas, depending unless you switch it up. The cheekbones and the cheekbone-ing? Oh, okay. Real sly reference right there, huh? Wink, wink. If this wasn't a sign to add one to your basket, we don't know what is. Is this the sex sells? Is that what it is? Or did I just misinterpret that? Maybe I did. Maybe it's my toxic masculinity. It's then a quick roll with the Joanna Czech face roller. Jesus, what the hell? Beloved by many other celebs, and finished off with Fenty Skin's Hydra Visor? What the? Sunscreen? What the hell? I am also a fan of this, which makes me think that clearly me and Nicola are destined to be best friends. Is this the every woman wants to be another woman's best friend thing? And then destroy them with like status ripping gossip? I don't know. I think that's just some women. Maybe not that many women. Let's hope. Moving swiftly on, God forbid she talks about Taylor Swift, because she's already being very punny with her words. Other than a spritz, pardon me, of Evian facial spray, is that the cheapest of the bunch? This is pretty much it for the skincare routine. Sorry, kids. Kids? What do kids have to do? However, Nicola does go on to reveal her makeup go-tos, which might also explain her glowing complexion. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. I mean, that's fine. Who needs makeup? Who needs makeup? Come on. All right, now I went all the way down. Don't worry, I've done the hard work and rounded up all the products she uses for both her skincare and makeup below. Oh my God, so it's just one big advertising. And she says basically to thank her. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I guess everyone's big on Nicola. I mean, that's great. That's fine. She's a shorter gal, and there's nothing wrong with being short. Not at all. I'm about 6'1", so her shortness is noticeable, but it's like it's okay. She's like, she's in the adorable category where you just want to like pick her up and like, oh, aren't you adorable, and just like set her at a higher position, like especially if you're in a relationship with someone that's short, you just want to be like okay, now we can go at it. Anyway, it's just adorable. That's all it is. Okay, so that was a nice, wonderful advertisement. I'm not gonna go into like who she's dating. Who would do that? That's psycho. That's psychotic stuff. Let's check real quick. Only a psycho would do that. I probably don't even know the person. I think I heard. I'm so bad. I'm so bad. Anyone who knows me, my humor is mostly innocent until it's not, and my humor is mostly light until it's dark. And when it's dark, it's 6 feet under. There's no light there, people. There's no light. Linked to one of her dairy girls, the Lori, because I believe she's a lesbian, which is nothing wrong. As a male, I don't have anything against lesbians, and any male who has something against lesbians, that's their problem. But I mean, dating, that's whose business? Really, whose business is that? Of anyone's? Who cares who you're dating? Unless it's like someone that you know and that you like and that you can't get. Anyway, who cares? There was something, I don't really care about that. Was it this? It may have been this. Yes. This has been, as a male, this is what I've noticed, that there's just something off with Penelope and Colin. And I know I have a lot of female friends that love it, love Colin. It makes sense, and they compliment Penelope and everything. I just say it's too soon. You could build that up. They were too quick on that one. They were way too quick to cash in on that. And I know part 2 of season 3 has not arrived yet, but it's already done with the carriage scene, really. And they don't. I would say that the chemistry is really, really tough. Really tough. They're just too much alike. Anyway. But anyway, I guess, I mean, it is what it is. The thing is, for the first 2 seasons, and I do say, like, you know, people that are alike are really good pairing, but man, I don't know about in this case. It was meant to be that she was, puppy dog-eyed in love with this dude who had no clue. Is that what they're saying about Colin? Colin is an interesting case because, I mean, he starts out not really being interested in her, just wanting to actually legitimately be friends, and then she's liked him for the first 2 seasons, and then he goes away for a while, has lots of sex, and comes back, and suddenly he's attracted to her. I mean, I know the way I say it doesn't really, I mean, it gives good reason for it to make sense of not working, but anyway, I mean, that's really what happened. He just went to another place and had lots of sex, threesomes, and with women, and God knows, and came back and, oh, hey, Penelope, I like you, all of a sudden. I guess he lived, but he didn't live. Not really. So Bridgerton Season 3 finally brings Penelope Featherington and Colin Bridgerton's romance to the forefront of the show. But not everyone is convinced that their on-screen romantic chemistry is on par with the previous 2 lead couples. I like Season 2. I can't remember their names, and I'm going to get hate for that. And I should get hate for that. I should get bombarded with hate. With rotten tomatoes. Jeez. I'll do like a Napoleon. Gosh. Okay. Over the past 3 seasons, Bridgerton fans have been blessed with 3 exceptional pairs of leading co-stars. There was the whoopsie Paige and the Richie. Oh man, his name. Oh my God, I am so sorry. It's been a while since season 1. And Phoebe. Oh my God. Oh God. Dinever brought Simon. See, they were just stick with their name. Just stick with their character names. Simon and Daphne. Okay, Daphne's fake relationship, story to life perfectly. And that was Jonathan Bailey and Simone Ashley. Absolutely slayed Anthony and oh, dude, I love Anthony and Kate's enemies to lovers arc, and now Luke Newton and Nicola Coughlan are giving the girls everything they want with friends to lovers. Colin and Penelope. That is another scenario that does happen with couples. But dude, I love the freaking, as it was put, enemies to lovers thing. The chase was amazing, and I like, in a good romance, I like a chase, and I like a good back and forth. I should be pissed off. I should be screaming at the screen, why aren't these 2 already together? What is going on here? I should be screaming, he should not be with her younger sister. He should be with the older sister. They make more sense. Come on. I'm just saying. So Luke and Nicole's off-screen chemistry as co-stars has become one of the most talked about parts of the build-up to season three's release, with fans all over the world obsessed with their friendship and banter. Um, but some aren't quite sold on Penn and Colin's actual chemistry. Me kind of being for one. It's that it's kind of very awkward, and it just seems like they're wanting two different things, and she's whistled down, and he's just like, it's just another flavor of the week, possibly. Anyway, now Nicola has responded and offered a reason as to why Penelope and Colin's romance might feel different to the couples in the previous 2 seasons. Oh, and there is a difference. I think it is the weakest pairing, and that's not saying too much, but we'll see. I think the biggest thing I had with like the Colin Penelope thing, though, I will be honest, it was the camera work in the carriage scene. I think the camera work was just, I don't know, man. I just don't know about that. Okay, so speaking to Radio Times, Nicola addressed the conversation surrounding Colin and Penelope's chemistry, and she thinks there's a reason why fans aren't seeing the full extent of Pauline's chemistry just yet. I think sometimes we just misplace a P when there's supposed to be a C. Can't you see that? All right, anyway, we'll continue on. I had a realization yesterday, actually, and by the way, I'm illiterate as shit. I'm supposed to say, I was told by an English teacher last week, I should say less literate. I am less literate. It sounds much better, apparently, and I guess it does. So it says, I had a realization yesterday, actually, because the thing is, for the first 2 seasons, it was meant to be that she was puppy-eyed in love with this dude who had no clue, she said. So that was the dynamic. And that was played very well for the first 2 seasons. That was a 2 single season prolonging that was really good. And then they're just packing in them getting together in 1 season. They save it for extend it to season 4. It's a lot better. It would have been a lot better. And you would have been able to make it go more naturally, less sudden, less forced. I mean, he just returned, and now they're going at it. I don't know. He's got to have a reason to turn away from the life that he was living to what he now wants with Penelope. There's got to be like an explanation there, like a lead-in. It can't just happen. Let's don't even get to the balloon scene. That was horrendous. I don't think he was going to save her. I think she was about to die. I think there was nothing that he could do. At least he saved the balloon. Don't even get me talking about the other dude that, went behind her to protect her. Like, dude, the balloon's going to hit her front-wise. Probably going to take her, and you might survive. But, Jesus, that was bad. Other than that, everything's great. But then I was like, I feel like we were holding back our chemistry for 2 seasons. That was great. Because then someone was like, how hard was it for you to work on chemistry? I was like, oh, we didn't have to. It was just there, she continued. I'll admit that there's a chemistry when they're very fluent. And it felt like to me that Colin should have been just more natural. I feel like it should have been it really should have been a turnaround to where season 3 would have been like his coming out, and then there's something that with her and her that's pulling away, and instead he came out and he pulled her in. I feel like should have been something that pulled away, and it could have definitely been the whistle down stuff. See, that should have probably taken place before they got at it, but now that they've gone at it, it's certainly going to add more drama to it. They just kind of reversed it, but I think they could have prolonged it the other way. After Luke also shared that she agreed with her comments, Nicola continued, one of my friends says, you have an unsettling level of chemistry. And I was like, okay, I'll take that. When asked if she agrees with those comments, Nicola said, having seen it now, I'm like, yeah. unsettling level of chemistry? Okay, pollen. So it is pollen? Okay, so that's just what it is. People are just being cute now. Is that it? So it was like Penelope Colin, they just say pollen? Where are the bees? Where are the bees? Where are the bees? Bridgerton Season 3, Part 1 only skimmed the surface of Penelope and Colin's romance. They were skimming the surface of their romance by the end of Part 1 for sure. After 2 seasons of Penn having a big old crush on Colin, all those feelings came to a head when Colin starts to help Penelope find a husband on the marriage mart. Very nice of him. When Penelope asks Colin to kiss her, Colin realizes what's been in front of him this whole time. That was so rushed. It was so rushed. I barely caught it. I almost missed it. It was so rushed and so short in my mind. In episode 4, they finally confess their feelings and take their relationship to the next level in the carriage on the way home from a ball. The next 4 episodes will see them explore their new relationship in several ways, including in front of a mirror. If you know, you know. Okay, I'm assuming they're talking about her nude scenes coming up that she did after being called fat. Again, fat shame a woman, and she will take off her clothes. It's like, what? Who does that? I don't think so. So anyone downing the pollen chemistry, this is going to take getting used to, now will surely have their minds changed after watching Part 2. Alright, so I don't know what y'all think, but okay, obviously I'll be watching it because it has my interest. I do like that stuff. Like, again, I am a male of masculine form, and I have feminine traits as well, so it's just a whole... Let me put it this way. A healthy male is both. A healthy male is both. Because if you don't have masculine traits, you will not survive against other dudes in the world. And if you do not have feminine traits, you will not last in a relationship with a woman. It just will not happen. Your survival viability goes down as a male if you don't have both those. They're very important. Masculinity for survival and femininity for family, for a relationship, all that stuff. Very important. So, but yeah, this is Nicola, and again, I politically and stuff would probably disagree with her, but she's obviously very important to a lot of people, and she's going to be one of those role models, so her importance is recognized, even by me. So, yeah. And I, like everyone else, will still be watching Season 3, Part 2, to see what happens. So, whether I disagree or not, it's not enough to turn me away. Okay, alright, so this was something that caught my attention a little bit, and I'm talking a little bit about, and it was the end of the Krakoa era. It was the... Well, here, it's the House of X, Powers of X. This is basically Marvel rebooting the Xmen series, as it would be. And in doing so, they also created, or they made Jean Grey, again, you know, basically God tier, as it's been put forth and so on. Marvel has officially brought X-Men's Krakoa end to an end. After 5 years of some of the most reinventive and divisive X-Men storytelling, following the 2019 House of X, Power of X reboot event. And in its final arc, Fall of X, the Krakoa era came to a close in about as epic a way as it is possible for Marvel Comics. You know, and the Fall of X culminating chapters were told in the 2 series, Fall of the X, or House of X, and Rise of the Powers of X. Rise of the Powers of X, Edition 5, marks the conclusion of the Fall of X storyline and the end of the Krakoa era as a whole. But let's see how it is explained. So we got Jean kind of hovering over here. So this is this is basically kind of like the end. Well, I mean, the end is like actually the restart, but anyway, but Jean is up against Mr. Sinister's most powerful form, Enigma. I mean, the dude apparently is extremely strong. But hey, we got some plot armor for you. We got Jean Grey. She's always been there. So he's about to just destroy everything as it would be. And Jean Grey is in the way. But what he doesn't know is that she's about to do something crazy. So they're getting into this fight, and as we continue, the rise of the powers of X, Edition 5, brought two cosmic powers into conflict, with the fate of reality at stake. Jean Grey, Hope Summers, and the mutants stranded in the realm outside of space and time, the White Hot Room, successfully rebirthed the Phoenix Force, which turned out to also be the original birth of the cosmic entity. After being reconnected to the Phoenix, Jean Grey was locked into a cat-and-mouse game of cosmic chase against Nathaniel Essex, the scientist who created Mr. Sinister, and 3 other clones. That's right, there's actually 4. To accumulate the shared knowledge of his clones, lives, transforming Essex into a god-like being, the Enigma. Interstellar intelligence that exists outside of space and time. You can see how powerful that is. That's some crazy power right there. Fall of X saw the X-Men battling on 2 fronts, a war against anti-mutant organization Orcus on Earth and in orbit, while also battling the omnipotent threat of Enigma, who sought to play God with the timeline, guaranteeing his ascension, and survival by taking away the one threat to a Dominion's existence. Guess who? Jean Grey's Phoenix power. Because she is the end-all, right? In the rise of the powers of X, Edition 5, Enigma darts across time, trying to tweak little events that can stop Jean from becoming the Phoenix, or reconnecting with its power while Jean pursues correcting each deviation that Enigma makes. I mean, she ain't letting it happen, dude. The dude's getting blocked one way or another. Finally, she's relentless, isn't she? Finally, Jean uses the Phoenix to become a cosmic avatar for all mutants, and all of them, she really means, who collectively stab Enigma through the head with a flaming set of Wolverine Phoenix claws. Enigma doesn't die, though. He's trapped in a perpetual final moment. That kind of seems like some Doctor Strange stuff, right? Going on right there. Let's see here. Forever in the throes of dying, unable to escape back to the safety of the realm outside time and space. And I remember the name Dormammu. I'm so sorry. So anyway, so this is like the big moment where, yeah, he's agreed to this fight and they're going at it. He's like, let's fight. Let's do this shit. There's her right there. And she's saying, it doesn't matter how powerful he is. You're only one. And this is it. We're the X-Men. That's pretty big right there. And you just got them all. You got Nightcrawler right there. You got all these guys. Just right there. Just one big, huge moment where she's just all the mutants. And she's coming for his ass. So, yeah. And then there's this huge uppercut. And, yeah, you just taking the dude down, man. If this was toxic masculinity, it's done. So, but as it before mentioned, I guess he does not die, but he's perpetually fudged. You know what I mean? So Enigma is defeated while Orcus and the Sentinel threat of Nimrod and Omega Sentinel were ended in Fall of the House of X, Edition 5. In the aftermath, Charles Xavier submits himself to be arrested for his crimes while the X-Men get set to embark on a whole new era. The Krakoa era began by revealing Moira McTaggart is in fact a mega-level mutant. Who knew? We learn that Moira has reset the Marvel Universe timeline in an attempt to prevent a man-mutant machine war across no less than 10 lifetimes. So she did all that, and there you go on that, and she just resets everything. So, happy-go-lucky, but The new Phoenix timeline is announced by a final epilogue, epilogue, scene in the rise of the powers of X, which sees an adolescent Moira McTaggart awaiting the fateful moment when her mutant power kicks in again, only to find that it doesn't happen. So Moira declares that she's free and that it's over, and she happily dances across the field, and that's the end. It's kind of a little bit of a happy ending, I suppose, right? So, but as we go on to what it means, so in terms of the comic book storylines, Marvel will relaunch the X-Men franchise under the new From the Ashes tagline in the summer of 2024. That's coming up. That will see the X-teams and specific characters like Wolverine trying to move forward in a world where Krakoa is gone and most mutants are still living on Mars or are stranded in another dimension. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm not the biggest comic guy, but I'm a fan of Jean Grey. I like it, you know. And it would be cool, like, because obviously some of the stuff will be taken down the line in Marvel and they'll be put either in a series or a movie. And if they do it right, I mean, it's pretty cool. And it's also cool to see Mr. Sinister take his spot, you know, as one of the most powerful villains in the X-Men series, period. If not the most. And or, with the exception of Jean Grey in this one, right here. And, of course, if you're a Magneto fan, the fact that Charles Xavier is busted, we probably bust you up, too. So, but, anyway, I kind of wanted to show that off. It's just really cool. So, I'm a big fan of the Phoenix. I think it's really cool. I think the entity as a force of good is also good too. I know some people like to turn into, you know, the dark variant, the Dark Phoenix, and destroys everything. That's not always. It's mostly, you know, life and rebirth and correcting and stuff like that. It's really cool. So, yeah, if you guys like it, and feel free to subscribe, check out my shorts, enjoy future videos. Nonetheless, y'all have a good one. Take care.